the universe, people are asking, what fiend would steal Air Jordans?
Oh, goody! More Air Jordans for me.
Pebble Beach.
This is no way for a Pamper superstar to travel.
What the? Shoes?
And they're all mine.
Give me those Air Jordans.
No, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no. Take these or else.
The squirrel team.
Saved by a clever edit. Things seem bleak for our heroes. Wait, giant pencil with an equally giant eraser. I smell trouble. I smell popcorn.
Red butter popcorn.
Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's butter.
Our heroes have made the world safe for truth, justice.
And Mike's royalty checks from Nike.
That's all, folks.
That's my client's line. It says so in my deal.
Jeez, what a pig.
Not long ago, a team from the East seemed poised to become a dynasty. The team was led by a star so famous, he was known by his first name only. But after rolling to successive NBA championships, the self-proclaimed bad boys of Motown found their reign cut short by another Eastern team. This team was led by an even bigger star. And in 1991, the Bulls dethroned Detroit en route to the first of 2 consecutive NBA titles. As the squads get together today, many of the familiar names remain, like Isaiah and Michael. From the Palace of Auburn Hills, it's the world champion Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons. The Bulls are riddled with injuries and must insert Rodney McRae, Will Perdue, and B.J. Armstrong into the starting lineup with Pippen and Jordan. The Pistons counter with Alvin Robertson, Dennis Rodman, Terry Mills, Joe Dumars, and Isaiah Thomas. Phil Jackson's Chicago's head coach, and Ron Rothstein is his foe on the Detroit bench. As the action gets underway, the Bulls look to a familiar weapon to fire up the offense. Jordan does not disappoint by nailing a long jumper over Dumars for the game's first score. Dumars responds by sliding behind a baseline screen to elude Michael and knocks down a 15-foot rainbow. Thomas has his shot deflected, and that triggers a Chicago fast break. Armstrong changes gears across half court and waltzes through the lane to knock the score at 6. Jordan plays off Dumars, who's just beyond the arc on the right side, and Joe successfully launches a 3-point strike and a Piston surge. Detroit forces a turnover on defense. Alvin Robertson takes full advantage by racing past 3 Bulls, capping a 13-0 run by the Pistons. Jordan tries to stem the tide, but his shot caroms off the rim. Scott Williams follows, however, and the charge is momentarily slowed. Terry Mills is off to a fast start. This left-handed leader makes him a blistering 6 of 6 in the quarter. Rodman's rebound sends Detroit off to the races again. Isaiah pulls up the 3-point line and drains another bomb, swelling the lead to 17. As the quarter winds down, Mills connects on his 7th straight shot. The Pistons shoot a deadly 83% from the floor in the first quarter and lead it by 13. The second quarter brings more of the same. Mills zips a pass to Olden Polynice for a 2-handed flush. Dumars spots Polynice ahead of the pack again, and his laser dish sends Olden in for the reverse layup. Isaiah hustles down a long rebound and flings a length of the court feed to Dumars. Joe casually lofts another tray, which puts Detroit up 49-32 as the crowd gets worked into a frenzy. But the Bulls do have Michael Jordan. First, he takes a pass from Scottie Pippen, catalyzes Thomas with a stutter step drive, and the finger roll. Then, he darts into the paint, freezes the defense before using the glass to cut the lead to 9. When Darrell Walker cuts to just right of the lane and banks home this fadeaway, the gap's been sliced to 5. The Pistons finish the half with another hoop from Mills via a beautiful bounce pass from Thomas and lead it by 7 at the break. Detroit enjoyed their best shooting half of the season. Terry Mills was a big part of it, going 9 of 11 from the field for 20 points. Chicago managed to climb back into the contest by outscoring the Pistons reserves 16-4.
King against Mills. Scott Williams with his last one. It's nothing there.
And that's why I said they will not continue to go back to Scott Williams too many times.
Robertson can sneak with the best of them. And there's a rebound claimed by Scotty Williams. Nice mismatch. And they took advantage of it. They had Mills on Armstrong. And the speed and quickness of Armstrong played to his advantage.
It's one of those times where a guard gets himself in an awkward position. He knows he can go by Mills. Mills should just give him a little bit of space, make him shoot it up over the top. The one thing he was trying to do, draw contact, he got that out of it. He also got the basket out of it.
12 today for Armstrong. 20 consecutive games of double figures. And I sense that Armstrong, with Paxson starting at the point, that perhaps he was growing a little bit weary of always being on the bench and always coming off. And he really strived to be a starting point guard in this league. Now he's got it.
Now they need to clear this up, whether or not this basket counts, because the ball never went through the bottom of the net. And Ronnie Rothstein arguing that it was their own player that knocked it back up and through. The point counts when it clears the bottom of the net. It never clears the bottom of the net, and it is Williams who knocks the ball back out. You know, there have been shots that have gone in when great shooters shoot the ball. They go in, they hit nothing but net, and it will come right back out of the net before it actually clears through, before the basket doesn't count. It's like a wraparound net effect. Again, Williams with the hand punches it back out before it counts. They count the points. A little conference there with the officials. They count that basket.
And a three-point play by B.J. Armstrong. What a pass by Isaiah Thomas. Little mismatch against Pippen. And Dumars takes a low and out of bounds. 9 to shoot for the Detroit Pistons. Chicago has had 2 free throws today. Detroit has gone 5 of 8. Rebounding in the game. 19 for Detroit, 21 for Chicago. Thomas. Robertson unsuspecting of the pass. A turnover right there. And that'll be turnover number 10.
But a great idea by Isaiah, because he saw the man guarding the basketball, Allen Robertson, standing on the outside. As soon as Robertson passed it, he would just cut to the basket. It was kind of a give and go from out of bounds. That's what Isaiah saw.
Boy, atop the key, Jordan is his most dangerous. And Dumars shoved him, and a foul call on Joey Dumars.
Joe Dumars, because of the jump shot down on the baseline a few moments ago where Jordan pushed him off and cleared it, Joe that time tried to be a little bit stronger, tried to belly up a little stronger, knowing that Michael was going to use that left arm. That time, a little bit too much. Jordan knocked way off balance.
1 of 1 Jordan from the line, 18 points today. Dumars was quoted earlier this week in the paper as saying he likes Jordan on the right side because he has the baseline to use him to buffer. He said on the left side, that's when Jordan is deadly, but he's his most fearsome atop the key where he has all kinds of options. 52 against Charlotte a couple nights ago.
I would say they did a pretty good job in the hospital clearing up that infection between the 2 toes.
Do you agree the comment by Dumars that atop the key Jordan has so many things available to him it's virtually impossible to stop him?
Let me put it to you this way. There are a number of philosophies on how you stop Michael Jordan. The man has won 6 straight scoring titles, so you take whichever one you like.
Isaiah guarded by Jordan. Jordan leads the league in steals. Dumars with Walker on him. Walker is starting the first half. That was a 3 attempt and a foul called on Walker. as the Bulls have crept to within 8.
Remember Johnny Bach mentioned to us, Darrell Walker loves to come out and put his hands all over the players that he's guarding just to annoy him, to bother him. Watch, immediately the hand goes on the arm, he bothers him, he holds a hand on the hip that time, hand on the elbow that time, and the foul is called.
It's 7 free throws attempted between the two teams in the first half. Far more here in the second. What has changed to put him in that kind of position?
A couple things. One, the team's taking the ball to the basket a little bit more, not quite the same number of jump shots. Second thing, the defensive intensity has picked up a little bit more. Technical foul called that time by Jake O'Donnell on Alvin Robertson. The other thing is that the officials will try and tighten up the game, control the game a little bit more if they feel it's getting a little too physical.
We'll walk to the other end of the floor, and Michael Jordan will shoot the free throw on the technical on Robertson. 2 of 3 shooting today. Michael Jordan from the free throw line, and he has 19 points. He is averaging over 32 a ball game. Third quarter of play.
Alvin Robertson giving a look as if to say, I don't understand why I was hit with a technical. Joe Dumars walked over to try and calm things down, and Jake O'Donnell just whispered to Joe. He knows why he got the technical.
Olden Polynice will take the place of Alvin Robertson. And Joey Dumars, one of the top free throw shooters in the NBA at the line. Dumars in the top 20. He's got a game-high 25 points. And the Pistons up by 9. Gibbons got 7. Jordan's got 20. Nice ball rotation, but the defensive Rodman closes the door. Double is king. I've got the single, and that's usually a shot he can make, and there to clean it up is Scotty Williams.
If there's one player that Ron Rothstein has to be concerned about on the floor, it's Isaiah Thomas. He went into the half with 3 personal fouls. With just under 6 minutes remaining here in the third quarter, he would like to get out of this quarter without Isaiah picking up another personal foul, so he has all 3 to use in that final quarter.
Walker picks up the personal foul.
Chicago has made a concerted effort to get on the offensive boards. The first shot is missed, but then Williams keeps it alive and puts it in.
Dumars the miss, and there's a rebound for Jordan. Pippen, King. 1, 2, 3, down it goes for 2, and the Chicago Bulls now trail 67-62.
Well, finally, a little bit of a transition game for Chicago. Ron Rothstein feels it coming on, so he calls for the timeout.
This is the closest the Bulls have been in a long time. Down by 5, halfway through the third. And it's a 5-point game. Bulls have trailed by as many as 17. Double-digit leads for the Pistons throughout the first half up until halftime when they led by 7. 83% first quarter shooting by Detroit. Bulls have kind of weaved their way back in this one. King trying for 2, and a foul called inside. Dennis Rodman will pick it up. McCloskey, you may bring up a good point. McCloskey leaves and Chuck Daly leaves, and that has affected him, you think?
No question. Dennis here playing defense down in the low post area, challenging as Dennis plays post people as well as anyone in this league. He wants to call for the free arm push-off on King. But with the 2 people moving on, Jack McCluskey, Chuck Daly, they were the ones that brought Dennis Rodman into the NBA. They were the ones that helped him develop his game, his style of play, his role within the team. And then suddenly, when they move on, along with close friends like James Edwards, Vinnie Johnson, John Sally, all these things have affected him. Now, if you look on the back of his head, the little haircut today says "Bite the Melon," and we'll get to that a little bit later on as to what "Bite the Melon" means.
Bite the melon is something that he was saying to people that were criticizing his play, and his response to the criticism he was receiving was, "Tell him to go bite the melon." We've had contests here on radio and TV stations in Detroit trying to actually derive the meaning of that. Here's Bill Lambier. Nice pass to Rodman.
They've had T-shirts come out, Bite the Melon, and Dennis trying to be very nice in explaining what it means. Just said basically if people don't like something that's going on.
Nice pass by Lambier on top to Rodman. Michael had a screen, back to double screen. Dumars late getting there, and Michael Jordan puts it in. He's got 22, leading the Chicago Bulls. It's a 3-point game. Last time the lead was 4 or less was with about 3 minutes gone in the first quarter of play. That gives you a feel for how long this comeback for Chicago has been. It has taken time, and there's a foul. That's called on the Bulls and on Scottie Pippen.
Let's go back to a moment ago. The jump shot by Michael Jordan. He goes down in low, gets himself lost in here, and then off a screen winds up clearing himself, popping out for the jumper. Get lost, hide behind a screen. Just a split second, all he needs to find an opening.
3.5 left in the third. Lambier. That used to be an easy shot for him. I guess it still is.
He came back, gave him a big game in the last outing, 28 minutes after he had missed the previous 2 games. His back is still very stiff and sore, but the one thing he can do is stand still and shoot the basketball.
And they didn't cover him, and that was his trademark years ago. Michael Jordan puts it in. What a shot! 24 points for Jordan. He had 14 at halftime, so he's got 10 here in the third quarter alone. Golden Polonese. Moving by King. They knew his defense was somewhat questionable. Polonese gets his own miss, and he's fouled inside. Walker with the foul for Chicago. He is tagged with his third.
Well, we had mentioned that the Bulls would probably try to get Scottie Pippen involved here to start the second half, but this guy has taken it upon himself, talking about Michael Jordan, to light it up, heat it up, and keep the Bulls within striking distance of Detroit. The Bulls still need to get back to Scottie Pippen, only 7 points at halftime, still with only 7 points here as we wind down the end of the third quarter.
Golden Polonese, and you can see where he ranks in the NBA in free throw percentage. Interestingly enough, he was drafted in the Chicago-Seattle thing. Polonese was drafted by Chicago. Seattle, back in '87, drafted Pippen. They switched. So those two players on the floor right now have had divergent paths to where they have ended up. Pippen, a dream teamer, and Polonese has kind of struggled to find his niche in the league. And it's a concern what we just saw. They have free throws, and there is Scottie Pippen getting a little bit involved here in the second half, third quarter. When we talked about that free throw percentage, it's a concern of Rothstein down the stretch, who he has on the floor. Scottie Pippen with the rebound. We got a 2-point game. Closest it has been since a 2-0 lead. Last tie was 6 apiece. Walker. 18. And the Chicago Bulls have come back to tie. Walker with 8, Chicago down by 17 in the second quarter. The march has continued to a tie here late in the third.
Darryl Walker coming into the game was shooting 33% from the floor. He is 4 for 5 this afternoon.
There's a hack inside, and Stacey King draws his second personal foul with 1:57 remaining in the third. Chicago started the game 40% from the field. They've upped that now to 52%.
Well, Jordan heats it up a little bit. They've gotten some shots down close inside. Plus, they've gotten to the free throw line a couple times, which obviously, when you get fouled, it does not count as a shot attempt unless the basketball goes in the basket. So all reasons why their field goal percentage has come up, along with the fact that they have gotten a few more transition scores on fast breaks.
Polonese from Virginia. He is coming off one of his best games of the season. 20 points, 14 rebounds. Thursday against the Denver Nuggets. And today, Golden Polonese has 5 points and 1 rebound. Scott Williams collects it inside. They're tied, and Chicago could take their first lead of the ball game. 1:45 left in the third. Pippen's warmed up this third. Scottie Williams. Pippen. Shot clock at 5, as you see. Jordan. Pippen keeps it alive. 24-second shot clock went off. It should not have, because Jordan grazed the iron.
The ball did hit the rim, and this year a little change in the rules. In the past, it had been if the ball hit the backboard, there was a reset. This year, the ball must hit the rim to be a reset. It did hit the rim that time. There should have been a reset.
We've got a close game now, 72 apiece. Chicago about ready to take their first lead should they hit. And I'm wondering how Detroit is in close games. You follow this team as a local TV analyst.
This team has struggled and been in a number of close games. In fact, they have lost 13 games by 4 points or less. And if we had the time, I could explain, they've done it every different way you can imagine of losing 1, 2, 3, and 4-point games.
Jordan trying to go inside. Lambier met him. Nice defense by Bill Lambier. Here comes Melvin Newburn. Jordan's on him. Rodman knocks down Jordan. That's a steal and a 2-on-1 with Walker. And the Chicago Bulls have taken the lead for the first time, coming back from 17 down. A 19-point turnaround in the last 2 quarters. Chicago by 2.
You mentioned close games by Detroit as Polonese tries to bank one in off the glass, and Bill follows it back in. They have 5 consecutive losses, Kevin, by 3 points or less going into this game. Oh.
And what's the difference? Why does that happen?
We talked about free throw shooting. They get down a stretch. There they are. They are like number 25 in the NBA from the foul line. Injury factors. They could use a Mark Aguirre out here right now to score some points for him, but he's on the bench. Rodman has missed games. All those things.
Traveling violation on Chicago and Scott Williams.
This guy may lead in scoring, but he also leads the NBA in steals. Michael Jordan with the deflection over to Darrell Walker for the score.
Now 32 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Michael Jordan today with 24 points. 10 of 21 from the field. 5 assists and 3 rebounds. Mills. Rodman. Difference of 7 seconds. Game clock to the shot clock, as you see. Nice knock away by Pip, and Jordan with 10 with which to work. A 3 by Michael, and a foul called on the play on Joey Dumars. And just under 7 seconds remaining in the 3rd. How has Chicago got back in this game as we try to trail the deficit of 18 to now a tie ball game at 74?
Michael, realizing that there's plenty of time on the shot clock, advances the ball, stops, pulls up behind the 3-point line, and that's the sign of the great players trying to drive that stake through the heart of the opponent. Something that Larry Bird would do typically for the Boston Celtics. You come back, you get to the point of being even, and just before the quarter ends, let's drive that stake in. Let's knock out a 3-pointer to really send them back to the huddle with their head down. But as you mentioned, what's some of the reasons? Well, Chicago has picked up their field goal percentage. They've gotten a little more help for Michael Jordan. For Detroit, who shot 62% in the first half, they're not shooting nearly as well. Remember now, Mills, 20 points in the first half, only 2 so far here in the second half.
Mills had a 16-point first quarter when the team hit 15 of their first 18 shots. That's the time remaining in the 3rd. Thomas, good pass, Mills, Lambier at the buzzer. Yes! You couldn't ask for a better 3rd quarter. Bulls coming from 7 down at the half. Michael Jordan, a tremendous 3rd quarter of play. 12 points, and we are tied at 76 apiece. Here's Tim Hardaway behind the back. Oh, he spins and scores!
I'ma get mine, so get yours. I wanna see sweat coming out your pores. Come on, come on.
Monster slam.
Feel it, feel it.
Drexler.
Feel the vibration.
Nice pass. You gotta love it. A little magic.
Last 3 games, he's been about 55% from the field, so he's feeling it. He is 6 of 9 today. There's Mills. And the double by Neely and by King. They're really getting on Mills after he started out with a flurry that Bulls could not stop. Dennis Rodman.
Believe it or not, Dennis Rodman has really improved his offensive game this season. They actually run a post-up series for Dennis. Players have been looking for him a little bit more in the transition game. He has converted, shown a little hook at times. So he's starting to like putting a couple points on the board.
Alvin Robertson. Lambier's been left free, and he's hitting every time. Bill Lambier from the field. 10 points and 5 of 7 from the field. But Lambier's had some great entry passes as well.
If you draw the double team, they can look across the floor. That time it was supposed to go down low. A little deflection. Bill will take the assist.
Jordan from downtown has gone 1 of 2. He's got a Game high 26, and when you look at close games, Detroit involved with one right now. They lead by one, but here is what has happened all season long in close games.
And there's a variety of reasons, as we mentioned before, why they have been in so many. Actually, it's 21, okay, that have been decided by 4 points or less. They have won 8 of those and lost 13 of them.
Michael Jordan by Dumars. He puts it down. 28, Michael Jordan. And he gives the Bulls a 1-point lead.
You can expect that in the fourth quarter here, the defense will tighten up. Points will be hard to come by.
Armstrong outracing Lambeer, and Chicago goes up by 3.
We talk about the ultimate in frustration. Bill Lambeer trying to run down a basketball with B.J. Armstrong on one side and Michael Jordan on the other side, chasing it. Bill knowing that if he doesn't get there quickly, it's a layup.
Armstrong is too shy of his season-high 20. What a pass inside. Lambeer from Isaiah Thomas. Thomas in the game now with 10 assists. Pippen backs off Rodman. That gives him the gap, and Rodman collects the miss. 9 rebounds for Dennis Rodman. 14 minutes remaining in the fourth. Double and Mills. And the defense of Chicago putting the clamps on Detroit. That has been the difference in the second half.
And you can see the adjustments by Phil Jackson and his staff. Now when the ball goes down to Mills, they come quickly. They come with another big man, so it's tough for him to get a clean look out of the double team.
Neely from King banks it in. Ed Neely, he's got 4.
I did not hear him call glass before that shot went up.
87-84. The Chicago Bulls lead by 3. You talk about frustration. Well, about Bill Lambeer.
Here it is. The ball is rolling in the backcourt. He's got the lead. He had the lead. They get the score.
He just lost the lead, huh? Chicago with their biggest lead today. We're midway through the fourth.
You know, I have played golf with Michael, and immediately afterwards he said he had never seen anyone with a golf game quite like mine.
You saw parts of the course you never thought existed, right? Nice move by Isaiah, getting by the double team and swerving inside. Foul called on Ed Neely. That'll be his second personal foul. Is there the same extreme dislike between these two teams, Mike?
I don't know if the, as I said, hatred is quite the same, but you have two very, very highly competitive teams here. One which held the title for a while that the other one was trying to get. Then the other team comes on and takes it away from them. You had so many heated matchups and rivalries, and I think what takes some of the edge off that is the way that Detroit has started this season out with a number of problems within the program.
It has been a very chaotic year for the Detroit Pistons. Michael Jordan for 3. They get the break, but the Bulls get back on defense, and there's Darrell Walker again. Neely scoops it up. Here comes B.J. Armstrong. He'll spot up from 15.
You know, I mentioned earlier that Darrell Walker has given them some of that energy that Cliff Levingston used to give them, but it comes in a different way. Levingston would be on the glass, setting big screens, get offensive rebounds for him. He'd lead the cheer just before they came out of the locker room. Darrell Walker does it by getting back in, stripping basketballs, and helping do all the dirty work.
Look at Isaiah Thomas. Pounding off bodies, and Isaiah now with 14 points, 9 assists. Let's watch it again.
Sometimes they take Isaiah out of the point guard role and put him into the scoring guard role. They used Bill Lambeer as the feeder that time. The concentration, the off-balance shot in the bottom.
Got a foul shooting team is Detroit. You watch this team all season.
They have missed a number of big free throws. Isaiah, that time with the air ball, shooting 72% from the foul line. The team overall shooting just 71.8%, under 72% as a team.
50% today, 8 of 16. Chicago, 8 of 9. Not many shooting fouls we have seen today. In fact, only 7 shots in the first half. King swings it out to Neely. Well, Ed Neely just given his Bulls a 5-point lead. He's got 6 for the game, and we're in the fourth quarter and halfway through it.
don't think that you would bring Ed Neely in, a 25% shooter, since he's been in Chicago this season, as a jump shooting source for you.
Isaiah answers at the other end. And Isaiah's got 16. Detroit has lost 3 of their last 5 at home. King in traffic, and down it goes. And Chicago leads it 93-88. Bulls, in contrast, on the road, the best record of any team in the NBA, 20-10. They have won 7 of their last 8 road games. Isaiah and Jordan to Mills, who's been quiet in the second half. He remains that way. Robertson. With Mike Fratello, this is Kevin Harlan sitting in for Marv Albert, who will be with you next week at Madison Square Garden in New York, when 2 of the finest centers in the NBA, David Robinson for the Spurs, a red-hot team, they won again last night, will take on Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. The past few weeks, we've brought you 2 great matchups in the middle, Patrick and Shaq, Shaq and Mr. Robinson. And next week, it'll be Robinson and Patrick Ewing. That's next week, the NBA Game of the Week on NBC. 5.5 left in the game here. It's a 3-point Chicago lead. Second meeting of the season. First Chicago trip to the Palace this season. Jordan won it in overtime. Back in November with a 3. Nice dish off the King. And it's a turnover. It will go back to the Detroit Pistons.
When Detroit had different pieces to operate with, and if starters were struggling, you could go to the bench, bring in a Vinnie Johnson. He'd suddenly get you 4 or 5 baskets. You could go and take a Mark Aguirre, who's still here, put him in the game. He could get you a quick 4 or 5 baskets. Missing pieces, obviously, it hurt the team.
Isaiah Thomas has just tied this ball game. With Ahmad Rashad and Mike Fratello. This is Kevin Harlan from the Palace of Auburn Hills. 93 apiece on the Isaiah Thomas 3-point shot. King into Rodman with the drive. Knocked away. Foul called inside on Dennis Rodman.
A few moments ago, Michael Jordan playing defense. Thomas with the basketball is going to feed the postman. Sometimes coaches want to get Jordan away from the ball. He leads the league in steals. This is what he does. He will come back, get a hand in and bother you. You can't decide if he's going to come hard or not. As a result, it affects the shooter. Sometimes you want to take Jordan and put him on the other side of the floor. Let somebody else feed the postman.
Stacey King now, 13 points. Michael Jordan in the game with 28. King has a 3 of 3 afternoon from the line. And the Chicago bench, including King, accounting for 35 of the Chicago points. Detroit with just 17. The bench has heavily favored Chicago. The starters, as Mike said at halftime, not really been able to grasp this game, but the bench has, and Chicago leads by 2 late.
That's the reason it's called team. Some nights you just have to call on somebody else to step forward, and when you have a deep bench, guys who can produce, it makes you a very good basketball team.
Look at Jordan stick with Thomas. Rebound by Walker.
Well, you know, Joe Dumars may have gotten off early, but when it comes to crunch time and Michael Jordan digs in on you, remember, he has already been voted Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA.
King. Neely, who's had some big shots down the stretch. Shot clock at 5, as you see. Neely. Pippen. Not in time. 24-second violation against the Chicago Bulls.
Good job that time of double-teaming Michael Jordan as he came off the screen. The shot clock had run down. What Phil Jackson is trying to emphasize to Michael is if they do it again next time, trap you, take the double team, pass the ball quickly, and then cut to the basket without it. Look for a return pass.
Dumars. The Pistons today, 60% from the field. And as we see Dumars put up the runner.
Joe Dumars can create more shots, invent shots in the air, and convert them. That's the big thing that amazes me. A lot of guys can invent shots, but they don't go down. The player just wants to draw a foul. Joe makes it go in the basket.
Game time. Jordan will try to break it. He is not. Dennis Rodman has it. 10 rebounds for Rodman. 3:10 left in the game. Detroit can take a lead with this possession. Robertson inside. And Dumars will recock and reload this offense at Detroit.
We're talking with Alvin Robertson yesterday. That's one of those times where he said sometimes we're just a little bit too hasty to get shots up at the basket. We don't take our time.
Terry Mills should get credit for that because he knocked out 2 oncoming Chicago Bull defenders.
Well, it's a battle on the glass for Detroit, just trying to keep the ball alive to give themselves some extra shot opportunities. That time it pays off in the basket.
The Chicago Bulls trail Detroit by 2. 2:41 left.
Let's take a look at 2 great scoring guards, how they create. First of all, Dumars, a little bit of hold again. Hold by Walker, but the floater high over the outstretched hand. Well, Michael Jordan must have heard us as he went by the table saying that guards can create and convert off balance. This goes in. No, it rolls out.
With the chaotic season that Detroit has had, as you can see, Dumars and Jordan just with 1 point separating them. Did you expect the Pistons to come out and play like this today?
Across the universe, people are asking, what fiend would steal Air Jordans?
Oh, goody. More Air Jordans for me.
Pebble Beach.
This is no way for a Pampa superstar to travel.
What the shoes?
And they're all mine.
Give me those Air Jordans.
No,
Yes,
no,
yes,
no,
yes,
no,
no,
yes,
no,
yes,
no.
Take these or else.
The squirrel team.
Saved by a clever edit. Things seem bleak for our heroes. Wait, a giant pencil with an equally giant eraser. I smell trouble. I smell popcorn.
You got better popcorn?
Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's better.
Our heroes have made the world safe for truth, justice.
And Mike's royalty tips from Nike.
That's all, folks.
That's my client's line. It says so in my deal.
Jeez, what a pig.
Get everybody's head in tune with one another, on the same page. Robertson comes up with the steal. Because of the strength they have in that backcourt and with the addition of Mills, they can play with anybody. And I don't know a coach that wants to meet this team come playoff time if you get caught involved in high 80s or low 90-point games.
Jordan and Dumars. Thomas on Armstrong. The leap and lean. 5 personal fouls on B.J. Armstrong. That's if Detroit gets in, because right now they're 10 out of 8 possible playoff teams.
Isaiah shows the ball. It's the body contact right there. Isaiah helped a little bit by leaning to his right that time, but that's what all the years of experience are all about. And Michael Jordan not necessarily agreeing. He's saying that Isaiah jumped in, that the defensive player should be entitled to go straight up and down.
Isaiah Thomas, 4 of 8 from the line. Isaiah with 20 points and 10 rebounds. The lone player on the floor with the double-double. 10 assists, excuse me. And he's got 21.
You mentioned that Detroit has a long way to go. The back pick, lob pass that time to Pippen, just a little bit too high as Detroit comes back at Chicago in transition.
Bulls coming with a big defensive play. Bulls, every game important to them. There's 6 percentage points in back of New York for home court advantage through the playoffs. And the runner by B.J. A little bit shy, and a foul called on the Pistons. They called on Terry Mills, his 3rd.
Michael sees the opportunity, gets that lob pass up there. The deflection by Alvin Robertson prevents the lob from being caught and converted by Scottie Pippen. We mentioned a second ago the difficulty that Detroit will have. This was a very big week for them, having 3 home games in their building, because when this game is completed, they now go out and play at Sacramento, at Utah, at Phoenix, at the Los Angeles Lakers, and at Golden State. 5 in a row on the road. If there's a team that has an advantage coming down the stretch between all the teams fighting for that last spot, and that's Indiana, Miami, Atlanta, and Detroit, it's clearly Atlanta with the home court advantage in a number of their games. 12-9, I believe it is, left for them in favor of home court games.
A season-high 22 for B.J. Armstrong. Detroit holds on to the 2-point lead. Isaiah against B.J. Robertson is free. Jordan conversion. There's a foul on Michael Jordan. They will not count it. Jordan had no choice but to stop him.
Jordan very happy to take the foul outside, away from the basket, rather than have him get in closer and have the shot count. So he simply, once he realizes that Alvin with the pump fake gets the initial first step on him, he takes the foul there because he knows he's beaten, pushes him to make sure that it's not going to go in, but it still goes in, but doesn't count.
Alvin Robertson will be at the line. He's played with San Antonio. He's played with Milwaukee and just joined Detroit. He's 2 of 3 from the line with 8 points. And you couple him with Isaiah Thomas. You are talking about 2 fine thieves in the backcourt. Steal leaders all time in the NBA.
But by fouling that time, what you did is you put Alvin Robertson on the free throw line, and for the season, he's just a 65% free throw shooter. So Chicago actually picks up a point on the exchange there by him only making 1 out of 2.
Bulls down by 3. 1:20 left in the game. Scottie Pippen dumps it off to King. Rather it's Williams, and inside Pippen banks it in. 1-point game. Pistons have it.
Chicago immediately gets up and extends its defense, tries to force a turnover in the backcourt, tries to keep the ball out of Isaiah's hands. They'd rather have Dumars or Alvin Robertson making decisions. They're not quite the same decision makers as Isaiah. So what happens now? Reverse roles. Dumars runs the show. Isaiah becomes the scorer.
Thomas on Armstrong, 6 to shoot. Little isolation. Rebound by Michael Jordan. Bulls could take a lead. Michael Jordan hasn't scored since 9-10 of this 4th quarter. And no miss as big as that one.
You could see as soon as the shot came out of his hand, it was flat, had no trajectory on it at all, and that could be fatigue, strength in the legs this time of the season.
Dumars for 3. Timeout Chicago, 15 seconds remaining in regulation. The Pistons up by 1. Detroit led by 17. They trailed by 3. Now they hold on to a 1-point lead. Bulls will have it when we come back.
Remember, Detroit has lost each of their last 5 games, which were decided by 3 points or less. They're up 1, 10 seconds left on the 24-second clock. Take it to the basket, draw contact, get to the foul line. Remember that Alvin Robertson said we launched too many shots at the wrong time. Although the 24-second clock was down at 4, then you've got to get a shot up. Perhaps you want to start it a little bit sooner, go into the basket, see if you can draw and kick out. Easier said than done when Michael Jordan is defending you.
What do you think Chicago will do here with 15 seconds remaining and down by a point?
One of the things I'd like to do is take Pippen from out of bounds, and after he passes, I'd like to run him in and get him involved in the play. Here he is with the handoff.
Pippen isolating against Robertson for the lead.
As Detroit takes it in, Ronnie Rothstein will use a 20-second timeout to set something up. Taking the 20, he cannot advance the basketball. He must take it on the baseline. No question about it. If they don't get the steal, here's the quick pass, cut behind. They create the isolation for Pippen, who tries to go over the top of Alvin Robertson. One thing that Robertson will do, he'll fight you when the money's on the line. The ball up over the backstop, therefore it's Detroit's ball. Now, if Detroit does not like what they see when they come out of bounds with this 20-second timeout, they could take another full timeout and then advance the basketball.
Look at the timeout situation. Pistons with all the time in the world. The Bulls have got to deal with the 20, but the time right now, 8.5. And Detroit's possession.
If you're Chicago, there still is plenty of time. What you do is you go for the steal, you try and get it. If you get it, you have 8 seconds to try and make something happen. If you don't go get the steal, you foul immediately. Remember what we said, this team, Detroit, is number 25 in the NBA as far as free throw shooting. There are only 2 worst teams in the league. Detroit shooting under 72% as a team coming into this. Very dangerous taking the ball in the backcourt by the other team's basket. Most guys would advance it up to half court just in case there were a steal.
Robertson to inbound. What a pass to Mills. He'll break away. And the foul's in the corner. Would you have taken it down?
Personally, I would have probably used my other timeout, taken the ball at half court, advanced it up there. The thought being that if they steal it up in the front court, they still have to dribble it down the floor and make something happen. That took a lot of courage by Ron Rothstein to execute that play. What he basically did is he suckered him in, set him up by running a straight line, having everybody come to the basketball, and getting Terry Mills free on a back pick, sent him to the open area of the floor where there was no one else left to pick off the pass. Dangerous. Rothstein with the courage to make the call. Now Detroit must make its free throw here.
Mills began the game with 16 points in the first quarter for Ron Rothstein. He went 7 of 7. He has 22 for the game, but just 2 in this second half.
And he's a good foul shooter. He's shooting 79% coming into this game from the free throw line. Chicago has no full timeout. They only have a 20, so they cannot advance the ball to half court. First thing they must do is secure the basketball if Mills should miss. If it's a make, I'm sure that Phil Jackson will use his 20, set something up, try and advance the basketball. Only 4.4 seconds remaining.
And the Pistons lead 101-99. 22nd timeout by the Chicago Bulls. And Detroit has done it on national TV against their archenemy. Shot the best game from the field they've had all season long. 58% from the field.
If we go back earlier in the game, we showed a replay of Detroit taking the ball out with 6.8 seconds remaining. They had 5 people touch the basketball, counting the guy that inbounded it, and still got a jump shot off and made it right before the end of that quarter. So 4.4 seconds is plenty of time to advance it and get a good shot. Interesting, will Ron Rothstein put a man up on the basketball on the baseline, a big man, to try and bother the passer, or will he take him off the basketball and play 5 against 4 in the defensive end?
Now, do you circle Jordan on this play? He hasn't scored in 9 minutes. They tried Pippen last time. He missed it on the isolation against Robertson. What about Jordan this time?
You wanted to go to either Michael or Pippen on the initial pass because of their ability to, 1, advance it off the dribble, or 2, draw attention, and then pass the ball to an open person. You don't have all that much time to make a whole lot of things happen.
Last time these two teams met, November 11th, Chicago Stadium, overtime in a game 1 on a Jordan 3, 98-96.
Nobody on the ball. Look for the long touchdown pass.
The Pistons have beaten the Chicago Bulls.
You've got to finally feel a sense of relief that after being involved in 21 games decided by 4 points or less, after losing your last 5 losses by 3 or less, to finally come up and win one of the close ones, being shorthanded, getting some outstanding performances, there's got to be a sense of excitement.
And now, an abbreviated NBA postgame show. Chicago's loss has tightened a very close race in the Central Division. Their lead over Cleveland has been sliced to a game and a half. Charlotte's looking more and more like a playoff contender, and the Hawks have won 5 in a row to reach the 500 mark. In the Atlantic Division, the Knicks now have the conference's best mark at 42-18. New Jersey spent an unbeaten week on the road despite losing point guard Kenny Anderson for the season to injury. The Midwest Division is paced by the league's hottest team, the Houston Rockets. By winning 13 in a row, Houston has moved in front of the Spurs by a game in the standings. Utah continues its mid-season slide. Nothing much has changed in the Pacific Division. Phoenix continues to mount the NBA's best overall record. Seattle's firmly in second place, while Portland, the Lakers, and the Clippers maintain their respective positions in the hunt. Billy Owens has returned to the injury-plagued Warriors. Now, let's look at the lighter side of the NBA in this week's Rewind.
There is nothing like a stupid pet trick to get us up to speed for Rewind. That's what I call some skill. Saturday, the Hawks version of the Immaculate Reception, Dwayne Farrell in the role of Franco Harris. In Dallas, Jimmy Jackson breaks in with a splash and gives the Maverick fans something to cheer about. Monday, Charles Oakley muscles in for the board, then serves up a nice dish to Patrick. Danny Manning, not too happy with the way things are going, figures he'll just take a seat in the front row. Ever wonder what mascots do in their spare time? Minnesota's Crunch sticks it to the Phoenix Gorilla and makes a monkey out of him. Tuesday, here's a field goal try by Derek Harper.
Can't get us away. It is long enough, and it is gone.
It's March, so how about some madness as this shot by Ryder sends them to the big dance.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
Wednesday, it's a rare sighting of Sasquatch in Seattle. While these guys lost sight of the ball, LaFonso Ellis didn't, but Reggie Miller's got him beat.
I'm going to be outrageous.
And this is pretty outrageous. Reggie with the crazy falling out of bounds buzzer beater. Thursday, even on the road, Michael always remembers to pack his powder.
Right in your living room. Did you get some on you? Yes, sir. Did you get some on you?
No, I didn't, Red, but Jordan dusted off his bag of tricks with this shot, even though it didn't count. Derek McKee with a no-look pass. Maybe he should have looked. Milwaukee gets it and takes it the other way, and Lohaus dunks on Derek McKee. If you thought that was wild, watch it scramble as Alvin Robertson puts it through the legs to Olden Polynice, who goes glass.
Back in again.
We started with water skiing. We will finish with water skiing. Here is Beauty and the Beast. Must be some awfully strong skis.